Lunaverse, Episode 1 by Rainbow Double Dash. Universe by Rainbow Double Dash. Chapter 9, Soul Infinica. Corona's blank eyes widened a little in surprise at Luna's statement. Sister, wherefore art thou calling me by such a false title? Hath 1,000 years slowed thy memory? She chuckled. Celestia, dear sister, I recall that thou wouldst call me Tia in thy more endearing moments. You are not my sister! Luna exclaimed as she moved, charging forward with horn flaring with magic, wings spreading wide as he leapt for Corona. The white alicorn's own horn glowed as Luna did so, however, and the Princess of the Moon was seized in a white aura and thrown to the ground, with force that would have shattered any other pony's bones. Corona's eyes had narrowed as he spread her wings wide. Ah! She intoned. She began to walk forward. Tiny flames would spark to life, then die beneath her hooves as each step she took. I see that thou remain resentful of my power and rightful station. I had hoped that the millennium I have spent in prison has been but a mistake on thy part, but it seems thy treacherous nature remains. How did you escape? Luna demanded as he struggled to rise. Corona's magic flared, however, keeping the princess firmly pressed to the ground beneath her as she leaned closer to darker alicorn, a sad look on her face. Luna, my poor, covetous sister, I am the sun, I am the elder, the rightful ruler of earth. Thou hast great power, but I am the power, the burning fires of creation itself. Thou couldst never overcome me without the corrupted elements of harmony, and even with them, thou couldst do naught but steal me away for a time. Corona withdrew from her sister, wings still spread wide. 1,000 years is not so long a period, Luna, for beings such as we. 'Twas but the barest moment to mine eyes. It took no more than that moment to break thy prison locks. Locks I had not dared to believe, however, that thou intended to make permanent. Corona began walking around in circles on Luna, eyes still focused upon her. No, I had hoped that thou wouldst see reason, that thou wouldst understand that I was meant to reign over day and night. I am wiser, I am stronger, I am the sun. But thou hast a place in my realm, sister, if thou would only see fit to remove the fatal jealousy from thy sight. I admit to not having thy creative spark, thine artistic abilities. Thy nights are far more beautiful than I could ever construct, and it would warm my heart to have thee yet managed in my name. Thou would retain thy title of princess, for it belongs to thee by right, as the title of queen is mine, as is the land of Equestria and all who inhabit it. Corona stopped pacing around Luna, coming to a stop directly in front of her, tucking her wings across her body. The white alicorn's horn flared with magic once more, lifting Luna up, placing her on her hooves in front of her. Corona took several steps backwards, and the aura around Luna disappeared as Corona's head raised slightly, extended one foreleg. Kneel before thy queen, sister! Kiss my hoof and swear obedience! Shall we consign this to the realm of unpleasant memories, and dwell upon the matter no further? Luna's horn flared with magic, but Corona, once more, was the faster. Luna was again wrapped in white magic, and forced to her knees before she could launch even a single spell. Corona, for her part, seemed hardly surprised, only disappointed. Unfortunate, she observed, but perhaps 1,000 years of ruling alone have only heightened thine arrogant perception. Very well, I shall have to take more extreme measures with thee. Corona spread her wings wide, as Luna continued to fight in vain against her arcane bonds. The white alicorn's horn began to glow brightly. Thou art treacherous, covetous, in all ways unbecoming of a sister of the Queen of Equestria, Corona proclaimed, and so, though it pains me greatly to do so, I am forced, for the good of Equestria, to banish thee from the land. Thine exile shall be for a term of no less than 1,001 years. And the sight of thine exile shall be the moon itself. Thou shalt for a millennium look down upon the earth and see the glory that I, Celestia, bring to it. A comforting look appeared on Corona's face. utterly alien expression for a being with blank eyes. But before thine exile begins, I will gift thee once more with the sound of my subjects' voices. The subject sound our greatness for over 1,000 years. Perhaps thou shalt begin to understand thy era once the praise for the return of the rightful queen reaches thine ears. Corona turned from Luna, raising her head high and closing her eyes as she let the silent spells she had cast over Ponyville, ready to drink in the eager. Cries of terror and shouts of horror at what the multitude of ponies were witnessing. Corona's eyes fluttered open at the sound, though they remained without pupil or iris. A look of doubt appeared on her features. What? She demanded, looking around as though seeing the ponies for the first time. Many had fled utterly, while some remained close, paralyzed with fear, or else trying to work up the courage to do something to protect their princess and loved ones. Although what, none of them even had begun to guess. Each time Corona's gaze would fall upon a pony, they would whimper, or recoil in horror, or find whatever small courage they had managed to gather frail, and simply turn tail and flee. Nay! Corona cried, taking several steps forward. Luna redoubled her efforts to free herself. But a glare for Corona and a reinforcement of magic kept her in her place. Ponies! Whatever for do you flee in fear? Screams of delight should be reaching my ears, not screams of terror! The white alicorn punctuated this remark by slamming her right hoof down upon the cobblestone street, with such force that it sent 10-foot-long cracks straight forward. The white alicorn's horn glowed brightly, and her wings flapped once more. Instantly, scores of ponies were seized in her grasp and dragged forward, even those who had hidden inside buildings. Corona was careful to guide them out open doors or windows, place them all in front of her, holding them on her hooves and in place. This easily doubled the wheels of abject horror over and over again, one word reaching the alicorn's ears. Corona! Corona! Corona closed her eyes and grit her teeth. Cease your cries! Your queen commands silence! She shouted, not merely enhancing her voice, but using magic to adjust its tone and inflection to be one of the most ponies couldn't disobey. Shortly thereafter, not instantly, but quickly enough, the screams and cries died down to a low-level murmur of whimpers and held back tears. Corona looked around at the ponies frozen before her. Explain yourselves! She commanded. After 1,000 years, your rightful queen has returned! She approached one pony, getting close to the stallion. Whatever for do you run? She demanded, as he flinched to try to move away. Corona snorted in disgust and turned to another. Wherefore do you find cause for fear? Luna stopped struggling against her bonds. Breathing heavily, she looked to Corona, and the faintest grin appeared on her features. It was the same 1,000 years ago, Corona, she said. Don't you remember? Corona turned quickly, glaring at Luna. The filth! The spittle! She exclaimed. Such lies are unbecoming of thee, sister! 1,000 years ago, 'twas thine actions that made the ponies rise against me, thy corrupting influence and my court! You mean the court that you had to drag from their homes, kicking and screaming? Luna asked. No, wait, that was earlier. You're referring to the court that you attended you only because you held the families hostage! Their obedience was better assured than the matter. But always, I had the love of the common pony. You mean to tell me you don't remember having to threaten to burn down Canterlot and start over like a phoenix rising from the ashes, if every pony in the city didn't line up for your possession at one time? Thine influence was strong in the capital, but in the rural areas where the revolution began, it would have gone no further had thou not had the royal guard not immediately switch sides as soon as I stole the elements from you. Be silent! Corona shouted, the aura around Luna doubling in size and forcing her to the ground. She cried in pain. I should have known. 1,000 years may not have been long for an alicorn, but for ponies, thou hast a millennium to sow thy lies amongst thy subjects, to turn me into not more than a monster in their eyes. I didn't need you. You did that fine by yourself. Luna's horn glowed. And though she did not escape Corona's magical grip, she managed to force herself to her hooves, and looked Corona in the blank eyes. You had all you could ever want, but you wanted more. You tried to take everything. You weren't a queen. You were a despot. You ceased being my sister and became something I needed to. That I had to stop. Her eyes narrowed. You aren't my Tia. You don't deserve that name. You are Corona, the tyrant's son, a monster! Corona's eyes widened at so blatant an insult. Enough! The life of a pony is that of a gnat. As thou had 1,000 years to sow thy lies, so I shall have 1,000 more to expunge them. Whatever paltry edifices thou hast raised in mine absence, I shall tear down, and raise glorious monuments of my own. All thou hast accomplished shall turn to ash in the fires of rebirth that shall spread across Equestria. No pony shall remember thy lies, nor even thy reign. Thou shalt be forgotten! Corona's horn flared, light going painfully bright. Thy banishment begins now, Luna! Luna tried one more time to escape from Corona's magical aura, but her struggles were in vain as white light encompassed her completely. She opened her mouth to shout some final defiance, but the sound of Corona's magic drowned out whatever she tried to say as she shot straight upwards, towards the sun and the moon that lay behind it, disappearing into the unnatural midday's glare. Corona watched the white comet disappear into the sky, her face holding a bizarre manic mixture of grim determination and sadistic glee, mane and tail flowing like flames caught in a breeze, but which were too determined to be put out by it. At length, Corona turned around, looking over at the ponies and letting her white aura of magic fade from them. They all too paralyzed by fear to run, instead only huddling together, trying to protect each other from Corona's gaze. Who among you leads the settlement? She demanded, stomping her hoof. Who represents my sister's court? Step forward and present thyself to thy returned queen. There was a long pause before a base-colored earth pony began creeping forward. Head low, but eyes locked on Corona and fighting back tears of fright. I am the mayor of Ponyville, your majesty, the pony said as he came forward and began to bow. My name is... Wait! Corona blinked at the interruption as a light blue unicorn, wearing a tall, purple, star-studded hat and masking cape, as well as a blue shirt and deep purple coat, pushed her way onto the front of the crowd. On reaching it, and having no more ponies between her and Corona's glare, she paused for a moment, as though regretting her actions, but then gritted her teeth and made her way forward. I'm the one you want, the unicorn said. There would be some confusion as to who leads the settlement, Corona observed. Explain! Trixie stepped forward. You asked 2 questions, Trixie noted. Who's in charge? Who represents Luna? The unicorn nodded to the mayor. She's the elected mayor of Ponyville, but if you're looking for the representative of Luna's night court, that would be me. Trixie ground her teeth together as she closed her eyes. Don't, please, Your Majesty, don't hurt her. Don't hurt any pony here. If you're looking to destroy Luna's government, then I'm the one you want. There was a long silence, broken only by the crackling of flames that still surrounded Ponyville, and, Trixie noted, a similar sound coming from Corona's mane and tail. Trixie heard hoofsteps in front of her, and dared open one eye. Corona was pacing around her and the mayor, appraising them both, as well as the gathered ponies, who were still watching in abject terror, wondering if they were about to witness an execution. Trixie tried not to think. She tried not to think about her future and the innumerable ways that Corona could kill her, many of which would involve fire, all of which would be painful beyond belief, and a few of which would be quick. She also tried not to think about her immediate past, what she had just seen. Luna, Princess Luna, the immortal ruler of Equestria, her mentor, in many ways her surrogate parent for the past 10 years, utterly and completely dominated by this monster, by a dark and terrible legend come to life, banished to the moon for 1,000 years. Trixie would never see her again, and their last true exchange had been Luna expressing how disappointed she was in Trixie, how she intended to terminate Trixie's apprenticeship. Trixie didn't want to die, but she did want to live up to the standards Luna had set up for her, be the pony that Luna wanted her to be, if that meant offering her life to Corona for Ponyville, or even just Ponyville's mayor. Then so be it. Corona completed her circle of the two, and settled down on her haunches as she did so, looking between the two. Madam Mayor, I have no quarrel with thee. Thou shalt leave my presence. The mayor bowed deeply. Either that or her forelegs giving out relief, but the effect was much the same, and withdrew. Corona turned her blank gaze upon Trixie, and leaned forward. Thy name? Corona asked. Trixie Lulamoon, your majesty. Trixie responded, keeping her head bowed. Just make it quick, that's all I'm asking. Thy standing? Thou must be a vice-countess, at least, to hold dominion over so large a settlement. Trixie blinked a few times. She said. Her mind whirled. Corona expected her to be a noble. Well, all joking aside, she is kind of a noble to me. A lot more noble than most of the Night Court. She expected her to be a noble because of how large Ponyville was. Of course, 1,000 years ago, when last Corona was in Equestria, Ponyville would be considered a decent-sized city, instead of just barely more than a large town. To Corona's blank eyes, Ponyville seemed like a major appointment, where an important noble pony would have been entrusted to oversee in the name of the princess. But this paled next to the realization that Corona even cared. If all Corona had intended to do was begin the process of emulating the members of Luna's government, Trixie would already be dead, and so would the mayor. No, Corona was seeking something else. It only took Trixie to realize what. Keenan she had learned Luna say to Corona about Corona dragging her court to Sesson and holding their families hostage to keep them there. Corona may have been a despot, a mad alicorn, the tyrant's son. But even she couldn't run a land as large as Equestria all by herself. She needed a court of her own to handle day-to-day affairs. And simply burning away all of Luna's night court was hardly practical, especially if she really did want to try and earn the love of ponies everywhere. It would make far sense to, at least in short term. I grow impatient, Corona intoned. Trixie glanced up, and bowed her head. Forgive me, she said, and picked a relatively middling noble rank at random. Justice, your majesty. Corona's eyes widened slightly. Justice, she asked. What crime hath been committed by thee to warrant thy appointment here? Trixie winced. Apparently she sought a little too high. But yes, she could work with this. I had a disagreement with Princess Luna, your majesty, over my duties. I felt I could handle a little more than what she was giving me, Trixie said, keeping her head bowed. This appointment was intended as more of a banishment from the Night Court than anything. Corona considered Trixie, as Trixie once more dared to look at Corona's blank eyes. The white alicorn's emotions were difficult to read, thanks to those empty white orbs. She had no idea what Corona was thinking, what Corona intended to do to her. At length, the white alicorn spread her wings. Whatever quarrel thou hast with my sister, she said, I believe to be most unfair. 'Twas a brave thing for thee to present thyself before me. No doubt, thou believed thy very life was at stake, due to the lies about me that thou hast heard from my sister. Corona stood. I am not the monster my sister has claimed me to be. I am not. She emphasized this point with a flutter of her wings. After a moment of letting her proclamation sink into the ponies of Ponyville, she regarded Trixie with an arch look. Equestria has languished under my sister's clumsy hooves for too long. Ever since she somehow corrupted the elements of harmony and turned them upon me, I shall bring glory to the land once more. Corona extended her right hoof. Kiss my hoof, Duchess Trixie, and swear allegiance to my reign, now and forever. Trixie paused a moment before doing so. I swear, she promised. It felt like her mouth was full of bile as she did, but if she let her come out this alive, along with every pony in Ponyville. Even as she did, however, she struggled to keep her eyes from whining, as she struck upon something that Corona had said. The elements of harmony. Of course! All she had to do was make it out the next few minutes alive, which, as she glanced up at Corona, suddenly seemed unlikely. Corona was regarding her with narrow eyes, wings spread threateningly as she withdrew her hoof. No, the alicorn intoned. No, 'twas too easy somehow. I find it hard to believe that a pony who would lay down her life to save another's was so easily bow to me, no matter her quarrel with my sister or her court. Trixie blinked. I know, your majesty. It's just with Princess Lunagon, Corona said, cutting Trixie off and grinning wildly as he understood the source of Trixie's accents. 'Twas not bravery. 'Twas a particular cowardice, and spite for thy poor princess in opportunism. Thou believed that thou could integrate thyself within my new court. Maybe? Trixie asked stupidly. On the other hoof, certainly made her sound like such a point Corona was describing, caught in the act. Corona considered, probably weighing the value of such a pony against the fact that, at the end of the day, she really would need to, for the moment, keep Equestria's infrastructure more or less intact, lest the realm collapse into anarchy. At length she brightened, stepping back several pieces. An idea occurs to me, she said. Thy desire seems genuine enough, but thy loyalty is still in question. Still, thou wilt willing to risk death for thy fellow pony. 'Tis evidence of a true nobility in thy veins. Somewhere. Corona smiled as her horn glowed. Behind Trixie, she heard cries and terrors and screams. Turning swiftly, she saw a multitude of ponies wrapped in white roars, being pulled from the crowd that Corona had assembled and dragged through the air, towards the white alicorn one at a time. Specifically, Corona was grasping Foals. No! Trixie cried out, not thinking that her horn glowed brightly, raising above her and tried to grab at the colts and fillies being dragged to Corona. She was powerless against the alicorn's magic, however. It was possible that Corona didn't even feel her feeble attempts to wrench the kicking, screaming foals from her telekinetic grip. Trixie wasn't even the only one. Mothers, fathers, brothers, and sisters all tried. With magic they were unicorns, or bare holes in teeth they weren't, holding on to their children. But against the tyrant son, their efforts were wasted. Indeed, they were wrapped in white roars of their own and pushed back. Trixie's magic failed utterly, and her heart stopped beating. At the last foal trying to pass overhead, a gray-coated, yellow-maned unicorn filly was being held onto tightly by her Pegasus mother. Dissy Sue's eyes were focused on her Dinky Doo's own, tears straining as both eyes of Corona's magic began to force them apart. Dissy Doo back to the ground, and Dinky over to the mad alicorn. Without thinking, Trixie rushed to Dissy's side, magic and hooves both holding the Pegasus back from charging at Corona. Other ponies tried to do likewise, but Corona only chuckled slightly as she shoved all away. All in all, Corona had captured at least 50 foals, probably more. Of course! I shall be too busy at Canterlot to keep a good eye on them. Corona mused aloud. At random, a handful of other ponies were dragged forward, as much as the foals had been, though with less resistance, as the Ponyvillians were still trying to recover from their children being stolen. Among them, Trixie saw, was Bon Bon. Corona's eyes narrowed as her horn flared. Fear not, thy subjects, Tyrant's son said. They are merely my hostages. They shall ensure the loyalty and stability of the settlement, with the mares and stallions I have to take it to keep the colts and fillies in good health. Corona leaned forward, towards Trixie, as the flames around Ponyville finally dispersed. And this shall be thy test. Keep Ponyville ordered and secured, and thou shalt need not fear for thy fellow pony. Provided, of course, thou survive the fellow's pony's judgment. With that, Corona beat her wings and took to the air, dragging the screaming foals and adult ponies with her. While she was hovering over Ponyville, she stood as though the air was solid ground, smiling wildly. Rejoice, my subjects! Corona called. Your true queen hath returned! In celebration, there shall be an unbroken 10 days of glorious sunshine. On the 10th day, if all has gone as I wish, if I am obeyed, your foals shall be returned to you, if otherwise. Corona let her sentence hang, feeling no need to complete it. With a burst of light and a strong beat of her wings, she was off, dragging the ponies held in her magical grip behind her. All eyes turned to where Trixie had been holding Ditsy, or at least all the eyes of every pony wasn't too broken by the events that had just occurred to do anything other than stand in shock or weep. But the unicorn had already gone from sight, as was Ditsy Do. You know, I know some people feel a little miffed about Celestia being evil, and some people complain about the things he's doing in this. But you know what? Kidnapping foals and threatening their lives and making it 10 days of sunlight, compared to everything you guys have seen so far, what I have done with Nightmare Moon, with the other incarnations of Nightmare Moon, and compared to some of the other stuff that I've had Nightmare Moon, that I've seen Nightmare do, and other Ultiverse fics, Celestia got off light. Okay, she got off light compared to that. Okay, at least this is not Book of Harmony.